Hi, so today I want to continue on the correlation between bite and sight. So how whatever is going on in your jaw and your teeth can affect your eyesight, and relate it to my own personal experience. So I have two previous videos where I'm talking about some new research that has come out, and this really is a game changer because it's made a very definite link between what your bite is and what can happen with your eyesight. So in my own experience, I've had quite a bit of dental work. Now, if you follow my videos, you know I talk a lot about eyesight and difficulty getting diagnosed properly by an optician. In fact, what has happened is that I've gone to quite a few opticians and I've had very different diagnosis. It's normal for your eyesight to vary during the day, but not by about 10 diopters, which mine has, and I've been given the diagnosis I've had is scotopic sensitivity. I've had in-based prisms for convergence insufficiency. I've had down-based prisms to help with posture and neck ache. I've been diagnosed short-sighted, which I'm not. I've been diagnosed long-sighted, which I am. So I've had really different diagnosis. Now my dental situation means that I never have the same bite, and this could be explaining why I'm getting a different reading every time I go to the optician. Because normally your bite, how your teeth come together, is the same. So whether your front teeth slightly, your top teeth slightly overlap your bottom teeth, or whether your teeth fit together, they should ideally fit together like this at the front. But for some people, their front teeth, their top teeth overshoot their bottom teeth. Occasionally it can be the other way around. But normally whatever it is, it's going to be the same throughout the day. Mine varies such a lot. And it was worse before I had the work done on my teeth. I've had really good dental treatment, I've got to say that. It's made my bite much more comfortable, but there's only so much you can do. So during the day, the natural tendency is when I wake up, I guess, for my lower jaw to fall backwards a bit, but then my tongue is kind of going into my throat, so I'm shifting that and bringing my jaw forward. So I've got my front teeth, my bottom teeth behind my top teeth. I've also got two teeth coming together. I've got a bit of a deep bite because I've got an overlap. I also have an open-mouthed posture a bit when I lean forward to do something, and I used to be a mouth breather. Now it is literally just if I open my mouth to do if I lean forward, I open my mouth. It's just a bit of a reflex. I also have a bit of a tendency to grip my teeth a little when reading. I have a bit of a cross bite. I kind of tend to roll my mouth a little bit, not so much since I've had the work done, but that's related to my eyesight a little bit because I have a head tipping tendency. So I have all of these different bites during the day. So why don't I have just one bite and stick to it? I actually can't. So my lower jaw has a tendency to come backwards so the molars meet, and I think that is supposed to be the most natural position I have according to the orthodontist, and that's fine for if I'm sitting or I'm lying, but the minute I stand up and start to walk, what happens then is and my teeth clash against each other, so I have to adjust and bring my jaw a bit forward and down. So I can't actually go about with the same bite all the time, and it is what it is. Also, I have a part of the reason for that is I have quite a small mouth. When the dentist is taking the moulds, he has to use the child size mould for me. I think it went up a little bit as he managed to widen the jaw out, but it's still a child size mould anyway. And I also have a high arched palate, so you've got your teeth and then you've got the roof of your mouth. Mine is actually quite high, probably because I grew up with a narrow bite, which has now been widened quite nicely. So my tongue really doesn't have anywhere that it can properly rest. I mean, I can exercise a little bit to let my tongue know, right, this is where you should be sitting, because I've got a little bit at the sides and the front before it arches right up. But that moves around a bit. I've got a small mouth, so I don't have a completely stable bite, never will have, can't really do anything about that. So I think I'm always going to have a bit of a situation where my eyesight is going to change. There's going to be quite a variation throughout the day, because in the research there was, and I shall go through this again just briefly. So what they found in this research was that if your top teeth are a bit forward of your bottom teeth, that if your top molars, so that's the back teeth, are a bit forward of the bottom molars, you tend to have tracking difficulties. So if my jaw falls backwards in its more natural position, that's where my molars are at. And yes, I do have a convergence and a bit of a tracking problem. I also have a bit of an overbite in that position, and it's difficult to see, but my top teeth come quite a way over my bottom teeth in that position. So that is an overbite, more of a tendency to strabismus or hyperopia and strabismus. I have both hyperopia and exophoria, which is a lot better since I've covered one eye up for some of the time, for sure. So that would explain why some of the time I get very sudden, oh my God, I can see that through those really thick glasses. Also, I have a bit of a crossbite, like this, I guess, because I have a bit of a head roll. And the research, as well as saying how your bite affects your eyesight, it also made the point that it affects how your head balances. So you might tip it more towards one side, you might get torticollis, you have a tendency to move your head to one side and your jaw to the opposite side of, so you'd move opposite the dominant eye, and you'd move your jaw towards the towards the dominant eye. Now I do the opposite. So there's all these things going on. So basically, when I went in for a thorough examination, the guy himself was long-sighted, and one thing he said was, does your eyesight fade in and out? I'm like, oh God, yeah, absolutely. So we had a look, I got in the chair, and he didn't use the autorefractor, he used the wall chart, some Snellen and various diagrams, and he was shifting up and down between lenses to see where I was at. And what was really good was he allowed me to sit in whatever way was most comfortable for me. And we found out that my absolute hyperopia, that's about a 3. So that's kind of below which nothing is comfortable or completely clear. But I was going up to a 10. So, and in that one session, I was going anywhere between a +3 and a +10, back and forth. And that probably explains it. I was shifting my jaw quite a lot, more than most people. Obviously, I would have been shifting my position a bit in the chair, and that is okay. So that would explain why I got this huge amount of variance of accommodation, if you like. I'm not supposed to have more than 2 diopters accommodation, according to the eye doctor who saw me. She just said flat out, well, no, because no one your age has it, end of, and basically treated me like I must be lying. But I genuinely do have that amount of accommodation. So yeah, that would explain why. I mean, I think this research, hopefully it will get out there a bit more, because I think this is a complete game changer. So yeah, when you go to the optician, you are either going to sit in the chair. I mean, you're probably going to sit in the chair at some point, which holds you in one particular position, or you're going to be looking into an instrument like an autorefractor, where you're going to be in a different position because you'll be leaning forward a bit. So for me, the difference between sitting in a chair, where I'm sort of pushed back a bit and nothing is really comfortable, or I'm leaning forward into the autorefractor, I'm going to have two completely different bites between the two of those, for starters. the bite that I will have when I'm sat in the chair, that is not going to be my everyday bite, how I hold my mouth in any everyday situation. So, you know, it's not going to be if I'm sitting at a desk, if I'm walking. It's not going to account for any of those. And even the autorefractor, where you might be leaning a bit more forward, again, it's not going to represent the everyday, given that how much my bite can change if I'm lying down, or if I'm walking down a hill, my jaw will go back a bit, so that's a different bite. If I'm reading, it will come forward. I'll probably clench a little bit, although I'm trying not to. I'm learning not to do that. If I'm going upstairs or something, I'm going to have a more open bite. Obviously, if I'm talking, if I'm walking, if I'm running, I'm going to have actually a very different bite for all of those different things. And not just, you know, it's not just that I'm going to be doing whatever makes my mouth comfortable. That means I'm going to be changing my head position, always trying to balance my head. It's going to change what I see at any given moment. So, you know, I'm always going to be, or my vision is always going to be changing quite a bit, I think. So, and obviously how you balance in the rest of your body. So all of these things affect each other. Yeah, first thing in the morning, I have a pair of +12s on, because that is to the point where I'm least likely to flinch if I actually see anything, because otherwise my eyes get into a real fight with each other. And I like to have at least one pair of glasses where I haven't covered one eye. I think that is important. So it's 12s. First thing in the morning, when I'm a bit dopey and dozy, I actually see quite well out of them. I can see around the room, no problem at all. So, you know, I'm probably not, like I say, I'm dopey and dozy. It's probably before I start squinting, start trying to control my posture, start trying to control my head position. Also, there are times that, you know, there have been times when, not with the 12s, but with lower diopters, if I'm just sitting doing something and I relax, then everything in close proximity will go quite fuzzy, and I will have to back off to see better. So what is probably happening there is, you know, I could be tipping my head back a little bit, or you know, again, relaxing, opening my mouth, changing my bite, which is causing that. So, yeah, probably, you know, I'm probably going to need to actually wear several different sets of glasses to compensate for what is going on dentally. So, you know, that is okay. It is what it is. The trick is seeing, now that there is this element, seeing if I can get a little bit more control and a little bit more stability, you know, so that I can manage a few things better, I guess, because, you know, I'm definitely managing very, very nicely with covering up one eye, but there is still more work that could be done. So if I can do it that way, that would be absolutely brilliant. So I think basically this research into the, you know, the correlation between bite and sight, and I've given the details in my other 2 videos if you want to go and look it up and read it. So if you get a kid with dyslexia, it's worth checking, do they need braces, what's going on inside their mouth, perhaps. If you get people with neck pain and back pain, obviously check their eyesight, I reckon, but also check, could they need dental work? And in the case of, there's something called functional neurological disorder, and it's where people's bodies, they might have a spasm or a tremor or weakness, and, you know, they can't pinpoint a cause. You know, it's like what used to be attributed to stress or hysteria, hysterical paralysis. It's not that. It is a genuine problem. The brain isn't talking to the body. But again, it is worth looking at, you know, could something be working overtime here because the bite isn't quite right, or the eyesight isn't quite right. So could looking at those things and making adjustments maybe improve someone's life a bit in that situation. So yeah, that kind of sums it up. I hope this was useful. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe, and hope to see you in my next video.